All right, buddy. Let's rock and roll. Hello and welcome into the Section 109 podcast. Here from Studio Breezy. Cheers, Matthew.
Cheers, buddy.
Coffee to a new off-season. Cheers to the season that was. If you were at home, I hope you were drinking potentially whiskey or beer and not coffee, but it is not that time of day for us. Not that that's ever stopped us before, but it is stopping us today. Thank you guys for listening and watching. If you're listening and watching, we like all the things that podcasters like. Comments, subscribes, and we're going to at some point get into maybe some grades and some takes on the season. We'll do a little more analytics focused something probably in a future episode. We may get into a little bit of stats here.
This is
this is mostly emotional,
just like our successes this year. Vibes and the power of friendship. That's what these takes are going to be.
That's right. So, Matthew, speaking of vibes and the power of friendship, how are you feeling? We are recording this. We said we were going to say when it was. This is 12:33. This is noon, lunchtime hour on Thursday. We played on Sunday. How are you feeling? You've had a few days to digest. This is not like 16 hours after, which it was 2 seasons ago, like literally 16 hours. I think the season before that, it was like 18 hours after. So it's not quite as therapy-esque, but yeah, soccer therapy-wise, vibes and power of friendship. How are we feeling?
I feel about the same that I did on Sunday night as this game was happening, just with a lower heart rate. I kind of expected the outcome that happened. And I'll caveat that by saying that we, like, the way that we played when we were successful and the way that Huntsville wanted to play is just large degrees of role reversal from the last time that we were in playoff scenarios in our final 2 years in NISA. Under Rod, we wanted to play with the ball. We wanted to dominate games with the ball, and our opponents, Michigan Stars, Flower City Union, very much were trying to be compact, defend together, play for some set pieces, play for counterattacks, stuff like that. And that's not exclusively how we tried to play this year, but like against Huntsville, it ended up just being how we played because they were just that good. They were that good in possession, and that's the way they wanted to go about things. Being the 4 seed, having a home playoff game, being the better team, quote unquote, than Huntsville, did not mean anything to me. You and I both believe, and still do, that Huntsville are probably the best team in MLS Next Pro.
Certainly in the East.
Top to bottom. Western Conference doesn't exist. Whatever. And St. Louis is a really, really good side. And I expect they make it through to the final. And
yeah, if I was a betting man, I would bet on a Huntsville,
like
St. Louis
Huntsville
final.
St. Louis final.
I might actually watch.
By the way, is electric. Like, that'll be a hell of a game. Real heavyweight stuff. Remember when you watched the Austin, we're tangenting now, when you watched the Austin Columbus game
2 years ago,
the MLS Pro final, as we were joining the league, and you watched that game.
It was the first game I ever watched in MLS Next Pro, first anything I watched.
And you were like, holy shit, we're in trouble.
Yeah, because
the level was so ridiculously high.
Yeah.
Like, it's the perfect encapsulation of, like, sometimes this league starts off a little bit rough, a little bit disjointed. A lot of that's because everyone's trying to play with the ball. And it takes a little time for playing with the ball to come together.
And that Columbus team, as an example, I think they had 3 players go directly just as MLS regulars the next year, 2 of which were starters, and 1 of which was a bench guy. So they played the whole first year.
Yeah, because like
Patrick Schulte
was on that team, Mo Farsi was on that team, Jason Jussel Rowe was on that team. Like,
those 3 players went immediately up and didn't. I think the last guy you said with Rowe is his last name,
Jason Russell Rowe.
I think he became a starter
He started for Columbus
the next year
on their decision day game.
And Schulte became the starter, and then the other guy became, I think, like a regular like substitute guy. And so my point being is like it had a very high level. Guys that just didn't just get on MLS rosters but kept playing. That was a really high level thing. I think this year, if those two teams it will be similar to that. Last year, I didn't watch the whole final. I watched a little piece of the final, but it was two really young teams. And we'll see who gets to the final. We're doing a preview about a final that doesn't exist yet. But like last year it was Philly and Dallas.
Philly was pretty young. But like think about some of the players on that Philly team that have progressed on to the Philly first team in like a Chris Donovan type. Kevin Sullivan was on that team. You know, he's pretty he didn't even dress for Philly's opening round Philly Next Pro opening round playoff game. He was with the first team. Who else was on that team? There are a couple of guys that have moved on. David Vasquez got plucked out of. He was on a first team contract with Philly, but like 18 years old, gets plucked out, mostly playing from Next Pro, and he just like becomes a regular player for San Diego in MLS. Oh, by the way, San Diego, who just set an expansion points record, finished top of the Western Conference.
It's wild.
Like, this league's got, Luca Bombito, I think that's his name. He's an LAFC player on loan at San Diego. They're just activating the purchase option right now. He was exclusively Next Pro last year.
Yeah.
Like, and then he just became a starter for the best team in the West. Like, it's wild stuff. And so...
Yeah, when you look at like the playoffs and Vibes and the Power of Friendship only took us so far for good reason, and it's like I think vibes wise, that's one of the reasons we're doing good or we're feeling pretty good overall. Is like it was a good season, a really solid season.
It was an awesome season,
and one of the big reasons of that is that we got the wins, we got a home game, and we lost to a really like if we lose to Carolina Core,
I knew you were going to go that.
I think this would be a bit of a different, like it would still be the same results wise, but it would feel much worse.
Yeah. But like if you look at the public models, and almost every single statistical category for the 3 games that we played against Huntsville this year, all 3 games we won by 1 goal. All 3 games, the public models for expected goals, and also like literally anyone that watched those games
and shots and touches in the box and shots in the box and like
right, like all the statistical categories except for the one that actually matters say that like Huntsville, probably was pretty unlucky not to get all 9 points. But even if you just gave Huntsville 7 points from those games and we kept 2,
that would make them first in the East.
That would have made them first in the East, and we would have finished directly on our goal difference for the goal difference standings and moved down to 6th place, which would have still been a good season. Right?
Yes.
A weird quirk of the schedule, playing these Southeast teams 3 times.
Yeah, playing you could argue that like
and Eldon also Huntsville, like just doing cool shit.
Us playing Huntsville 3 times was unlucky.
Yeah, and now you have to go play him a 4th time. And oh, by the way, Christian Kofi, who wasn't available for the latter 2 games that we played against Huntsville, who is their best player, who is their talisman and their difference maker. He did difference maker shit. And that was going to be apparently obvious from pretty much the moment. Well, so he had been out for a while, but like he played on decision day. Like it was pretty obvious if he was healthy, he was going to play for them.
Yeah. And they finally locked in their lineup to be.
And we were pretty good overall. Like in that playoff game, like we played pretty well. We did a lot of limiting what they wanted to do. I don't think we were great offensively, but like that's nothing new. And Christian Kofi like just created 2 moments of magic. Oh, he has a goal and assist. Like bang, 2-0. Okay. That's still okay. Because of the results on the field, it was 4th place. It was a home playoff game. Mm-hmm. Coming off a season where we missed the playoffs entirely.
Yeah.
And we said going into this season we wanted to make the playoffs. That is the job. Make the playoffs. Take the step forward. Home playoff game's gravy. Well, we got gravy this year, so I can't be mad about a playoff result.
Yep. We said this.
I can't be mad about this fucking mic.
We said this. You got to learn how to adjust the mic. The big The big one is
she said.
That's the up and down. Just saying. That's what she said. That's the, and then the other one is like, yeah, you'll. Did you get it? Matt's using a different mic today. We had Studio Breezy got a little a bit of an upgrade over to this side. Let's see if I can see. Yeah, over that side we got a Juan Hernandez / Summer Hernandez jersey. On the far side, over behind me, we have a signed 2016, which I'm super stoked about. Some very nice folks brought me a dope signed women's team from this season picture. So super, super pumped about all of these things. And we'll continue making hopefully some more memorabilia pushes into here. I'll say my vibes are pretty good overall. It's a good season. And I think we're going to do probably a pretty deep dive on some point on some stats and stuff and kind of parse out a little whatever. But all that mattered was getting to the playoffs, and we got a home game instead of just a regular game. And beating here, even if you say, hey, we're going into the playoffs, we only have to win, like, let's just go beat Huntsville, and you discount the part where we say, like, we think Huntsville's a better team than we are, and we think is the best team in the league, it is nearly impossible. It is really tough to beat a team 4 times in a year.
Yep.
We beat them 3 times. We used up all of our beating them.
Yeah.
And I think we played fine defensively, and they just had 2 moments of magic and created 2 really good chances, and we were not able to get the magic in that moment, and it would have taken magic to stop them in those 2 moments.
And like, we also, we created like that set piece early in the game, which came from some really, really good ball pressure that a trap that they didn't see coming.
You mean the one that we scored and they called the handball on the?
No, before that. The early in the game, like second minute, we threw a trap at them that they just clearly did not see coming. And in possession, one of them panics and tries to play a ball down the line back to a center back. I think it was, I don't know, whatever. And that center back hadn't rotated over to cover, and ball went out of play for a corner. And on that ensuing corner, this is like second minute, or third minute, something like that. Mango and Tate have a little quick interplay, and Mango plays this unbelievable back post ball that Huntsville does some really, really nice defending on, which would have just been like, back post header dunk for an early lead. That's the kind of chance that we our set piece game was really good this year. We can talk about that later. Like that moment, like really good defending stops something from happening. You've got another set piece where the handball comes into play that we put in the back of the net. Like that was the moment we needed. You didn't get the call. I still haven't seen a replay, and I don't plan on ever seeing a replay. I
haven't watched. I did read the Southeastern Soccer Report, which shout out friends for doing a phenomenal job all year.
Yeah, Phil Farrell, absolute gangster.
Yeah, unbelievable job covering. We've never had better coverage.
Yeah,
this is the best coverage we've ever had. And I think Ronan Briscoe's his name, the guy who writes about Huntsville. They did a recap at the end. Him and Philip I think all season they did. Anytime we played, they did a preview and a review together. It was really nice. But he watched it, and he said in his review, which is not without bias, just as this podcast is not without bias. And I think he said that, or at least I think he said some version of that, which is like, you can't tell in the replay. He said he's watched it a bunch of times, and you can't tell if it's a handball or not. You just can't. The referee's there in good position to see it, but you can't see it.
You can't see on replay. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And honestly, I'm very glad you can't see on replay. I don't want to be aggrieved about a refereeing decision.
There was the protest, but like it wasn't like phantom handball, like, what have you done protest.
I think
so. I'm choosing to believe that.
I don't. So they said it was a handball call. I didn't see in the moment him point at the hand the way referees normally like point at their hand.
Yeah.
And so that was what made me a little bit. I thought they were calling for a foul, which would have made more sense. It's still been like very debatable. It would have made a little more sense where like the no protest thing, because like all the time, like when you see a dumb foul called on a corner, it's always like muted protests because no defender or goalkeeper wants that call going against them the other way or whatever.
Yeah.
So that would make more sense to me. If it was a handball, I don't think it was called clearly because I think there would have been more protest. I really do. I think, you know what I mean? Like, if he called the handball, I think you would have had more people being like, no, it wasn't. Like, I think you would have seen Yuval being like, it wasn't me. But also, maybe you're right. Maybe it was an absolutely clear handball. We just can't see it from the stream because it's a single camera angle. And
you also got to remember, like, when you're an attacking player in the box like that, and one of the reasons why it's tough for us and for probably viewers on looking back, like, the handball rules for an attacker in the box are very, very different. Like, it's not like, you know, hand out, like, unnatural position, like, whatever. Like, if the ball, like,
if it helps you control the ball at all, if it touches your hand,
which, like, the ball was around the area, it drops down, like, it could have glanced off someone's hand and, like, helped and get pumped in. Like, it's not inconceivable that could have happened and also been hard to tell.
Sure.
And I'm just choosing not to feel sad about it.
We essentially had 3 chances in this game that I can remember. Basically 2 set pieces.
Are you counting that one too?
Yeah, I'm counting that as a chance, absolutely. And I do think, like, you could get upset about that one, but if you only create 3 half chances, 2 like decent half chances on like set pieces, and like we had a few set pieces in addition to that. Yeah. But like we didn't create enough offensively for me to be super aggrieved about this game. Yeah, you got that big twisty, the one that goes.
This guy?
Yeah, that guy. Push it towards the wall, the top part of it towards the wall a little bit. And that should click it in a little bit tighter. But push it up. Push the mic up where you want it first. There you go. All right. Matthew switched mics for a little inside baseball here, so that he wasn't so. This mic was being weird and in a weird position. He didn't like it with the camera over here. So now he's got to learn how to use the mic again. Yeah. Or get the mic set up, rather, not learn how to use. Get the mic set up how he likes it, because this one's always set up how you like it. But yeah, I think going back to vibes for the season, I'm going to choose to look at the MLS Next Pro season only for now. Not think about cup stuff, not think about off the field stuff.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay, cool.
We can do that at the end of the year for our New Year's resolution pod, where we take a much more like nuanced view of like the whole year and what we think. And since this is an emotional review, I'm going to ask you for now, what are you giving just the MLS Next Pro season? Nothing else matters. Men's MLS Next Pro season is all we're looking at right now.
I'm going to include playoffs in this, but
yes. Sorry. Yeah. Totally. I mean, competition wise, don't include any cup competition.
29 games, 28 in the regular season, 1 in the playoffs. Got it.
What's your letter grade? And we argued about letter grades last year for a while, and I listened to a little part of the podcast. It was funny. I don't know that it was funny for everybody else, but it was funny for me.
I'm going to give it an A. I think it goes to an A+ if you win the playoff game. And so, like, maybe that's harsh for a 1-game sample, but like, whatever. I'm going to give it an A. And I'm doing that based on, I'm based on, like, it's an A if you complete the goal that we set out to do, which was make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And even like that goal, if we had finished 7th or whatever, like, I'd probably give it a B+, because, like, good job. Like, you know, you get to keep your scholarship with your 3.0, you know, but like, yes. You know, we finished, we can look at the underlying data later, but in terms of vibes and the power of friendship, like, we did the thing, we passed the job with flying colors, like, you get an A. It was really well done. And like, I'm okay with, you know, blocking 10% of expected goals. If you just block those shots, they can't go in. Like, I'm good with Eldon being goalkeeper of the year. By the way, shout out Eldon, goalkeeper of the year. MLS Next Pro, best 11. Shout out Tate Robertson, MLS Next Pro, best 11, defender of the year finalist.
Yeah, the fact that he did not win, first of all, just for a second, the fact that Tate did not win Defender of the Year is a fucking crime. And whoever did that, either the guy who got it, whoever it was, is committed highway robbery, or there's fraud, and I demand a recount. I wish I had a button about recounts here. Ridiculous.
Like, really, really cool.
You can't have double-digit assists and almost double-digit goals, or vice versa, whichever it was. Yeah, it's double-digit assists. 10 assists and 9 goals on the season. You can't have that and not win Defender of the Year. It's bananas.
Yeah.
That Tate got robbed is all I'm saying. Well-deserved, best 11. Congrats, Tate, but like restart the count.
Only one of 2 teams in the league to have 2 guys on the list.
Hell yeah. Also,
by the way, that other team, won the West.
How the fuck did Eldon not win a single goalkeeper of the month all season? How did Tate not win player of the month all season? How did we not win team of the month? How was Atlanta team of the week when we were leading them 1-0 at the end of that week because the game had been postponed?
Because the game didn't count yet.
I'm just saying, MLS front office, MLS Next front office, MLS Next Pro front office. If you ever hear this, like, get your shit together. Like, stop favoring the other teams. It was well deserved. They got it right in the end, but like, geez, man.
Weren't we the team of the month for April?
I don't know.
We were.
I don't think we were after that.
No. Well, we won't talk about what happened after that.
Yeah, that might be the only. But why wasn't Eldon goalkeeper of the month for like 4 months out of the 7 of the year?
I mean, that part
when he was the clear
interesting.
best goalkeeper in the league.
But like one of the things about Eldon and Tate's performances, we talk about on this podcast how this league is a little bit boom and bust, and the thing that makes both of those guys remarkable and why they're on the best 11s, other than, being really fucking good and having counting stats to prove it, is that they just did it all season.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Tate popped in a 3-goal game or anything like that. 3 penalties in a game. Like
he had 4 when they were down to 9 men or whatever. Yeah.
Right. Like they didn't do any of that. And that kind of shit happens in this league a little bit.
Sure.
Like, there have been multiple games in this league that had like 12 goals, 14, like some weird, like 11 goals or something like that. Like there are multiple double-digit goal games, like overall. Like this league does that sometimes.
Yeah, we didn't.
These guys like just went out and like got a goal here, got an assist here, kept putting it together. Eldon just saving everything that moves. Like,
yeah,
I mean that's why they're both best 11. Congrats to them.
Here's a fun one. I think not going to grade the defense, midfield, and attackers yet. We can and should, I think, take.
Hey, Fiorentina just scored.
Oh, miracle! It's truly a miracle. I know we're in your anyway. Unlikely to continue is all I'm going to say. I should have put that game on this TV, but I'd be too distracted. I want to give the offense and the defense a letter grade for the season. Not like the 3, and not like.
I'm not even going to look at my. I'm not even going to.
And we're going to include goalkeeper in the defense.
Great. Make it easy for me.
That's why I want to make it easy, because I want to be nuanced later, because this is, again, an emotional season review.
So number 1, I'm not looking at.
We're doing letter grades.
I'm not looking at the goals scored and the goals allowed. I'm intentionally not doing that. This is vibes. And I'm trying not to remember that I've done a ton of work on expected goals.
Yeah, because we've got a little idea of what to do for our longer podcast.
So purely on defense,
letter grade.
When I consider the actual result of things, when I consider, like, I know that in the public accounting of expected goals that our defenders blocked roughly 10% of the expected goals that we faced this season. I have never checked that for anyone else ever. Only for us this particular season. I have no idea if that is a lot or a little. I'm pretty sure it's a lot, because we blocked a lot of shots.
Yes.
So like, not even considering giving up the expected goals that we gave up this year, but like just purely, the goals, the goalkeeping, the defending, the blocks, the clearances, the togetherness, the vibes, the power of friendship. Tate Robertson being a defender and having 19 direct goal contributions and a few more hockey assist contributions. Milo chipped in a little bit there too. Nathan Goller had 3 goals. Nathan Goller.
Nathan Goller, hey.
Performances from Ethan Dudley and Logan Brown, who were, were not preferred, especially down the stretch.
Are you not going to mention our on-the-field captain?
Fareed, sorry. Yeah, on the field captain.
Who might have blocked 500 balls this season.
Played every single minute this season, along with Eldon. He was never subbed out once.
Wild.
Just overall, you give that group vibes base A+. Unbelievable. We're not the team that we are. We're not in the position we are without them. You can talk about just use those 3 Huntsville games in the regular season. You can talk about giving up a lot of shots and them creating chances.
I was going to mention that.
But ultimately, these guys got it done. And it wasn't like there were cutbacks, in the pocket of space in the box that dudes were just skying over all the time. No, they were
sometimes
a couple of times, but for the vast majority of the season, they are, defending well. We gave up a lot of shots just in general, but they were forcing angles to be a little bit tougher. They were working really, really well with Eldon so that, they would shade to one side, which makes Eldon's read a lot easier. Just doing the little things in defending in box defending that you need to do. And yeah, just absolutely immense performance from the defense. And ultimately defending is a job for all 11 players. I fundamentally believe that. And I know they do too, because we had 11 players behind the ball, most of the season.
Not most of the season, for portions of the season.
Large portions of the season. So yeah, I'm giving it an A+. It was awesome.
Defense or offense, excuse me. And I need to give my grades.
I'll give the offense a B. I don't think we created nearly enough chances this year. I don't think we created nearly enough big chances this year. I also recognize that the starting number 9 that we brought in to be the starting number 9 did not play a single second beyond the 14th game of the regular season.
And he didn't play the first 5 games of the year or whatever as well.
Yeah. So you're starting big 9 to lead the line, do fun things in transition, etc. Just wasn't available. Basically most of the season, 3/4 of the season. And I think you saw the impact that Peter, in case you didn't know who we're talking about, Peter Plowman, that he had when he was available. Right from even think about the away game in Columbus that we suffered through. He had about 5 shots in one half. That's the kind of stuff and every game wasn't like that, but think about his impact in the Toronto game. Think about his impact against New England Revolution. Think about his impact. There was one other game that I'm thinking of specifically here. He was able to change games and it mattered a lot for us. Guys like Keegan, especially in the beginning of the season, he got 3 goals before halfway. Mm-hmm. Mango, 8 goals on the season. He's our second leading scorer. 8 goals, maybe 9 goals in all comps. Just putting in some really good work. Those guys finished chances at a really nice clip. And because this is the Vibes review podcast, I appreciate that. That's great. Goals win games. Finishing your chances, even if you don't create enough of them, still counts. It works. I like it personally. So I'm going to give credit for that. I'm going to round that up to a B+. Hell yeah. I'm going to round that up to a B+. They finish the chances. They get the credit for it. We'll save the analytics for later.
Interesting.
Because that'll make for a much more interesting podcast. Because all that matters is the vibes and the power of friendship.
That is mostly what mattered this season until the playoff game. So I'm going to give our season, just our MLS Next Pro season, A-.
A little stingy, okay.
I would have given us a B, which I think is the standard good season grade for just making the playoffs, and we got a home game. We also, you could argue, got and I'm talking about like vibes wise, got lucky to get that home game, and lucky in some moments. And it's not even the luck thing. Take away luck out of the thing. Say that we made the plays in the right moments, which I agree with like a lot of. We were so reliant on one player in Eldon that I could give Eldon an A+ and everyone else a C, and it'd be like almost like fair. And that's not quite fair at all. But like, point being is, I'm gonna give us an A-. It's a really good season. I would have given us a B for just making the playoffs, not an A, just a B. So that's kind of where my thought process goes. So it's like it's an A-. It's a really good season. I'm very, 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 very happy. I would have signed in blood to start this in the preseason just for a home playoff game loss to who I think the best team in the league is, even without the best team in the league, just a home playoff loss, which again, don't want to lose, but like you want to have a step forward from the prior year.
The fact that we have managed to find ourselves in year 2 in the position to have another pro home playoff game loss is like, it's really good. Like it's ahead of schedule, if we're being honest.
Yeah, it's good. I will also say for the offense and defense, I would give the defense just an A, just a solid A.
Yeah.
We were excellent. Our defense is what generated a lot of our offense as well. See Tate and whatever else. So there's nothing else to say other than like the defense allowed. It's not an A+. I don't know what you'd have to do to get an A+. But like, I mean, I guess I don't know. It's just we were really, really good defensively. We had to make maybe a few too many blocks, and we left Eldon hanging out to dry, especially that first like 12 games of the year. A little too much for an A+. But
well, and we did not prevent the lowest number of goals in the Eastern Conference. Like we were not like
yes, we didn't have the best defense in the whole conference. We had the best goalkeeper and the best overall defense, you could argue, when you take all of the things.
Yeah.
But and then offensively, I'm gonna be much meaner than you. I'm giving us a C offensively. And this is what we argued about last podcast, which like C's get degrees. So like you get a C because you made the plays in the right moments, but we didn't create eye test wise near enough. We were just dangerous enough to get it done in the right moments. A defender was our leading scorer and our leading assist person, which means the defense gets that credit, not the offense. And so I'm grading like just like split halves of the field essentially.
Breezy, known total football hater.
So all I'm like, C is still a passing grade for me, right? Like, which is not for you, which we argued about last podcast. Like on your scale, it'd be a B, but on my scale, it's a C. We need to be much, much better offensively next year because our defense is what like the fact that we were in the Huntsville games. I mean, I know we score early in the first one and we just under it for the whole game and our offense never let us get out. That's a problem. I recognize the injuries but your best ability is availability, as they say. And like, I will give a little bit of credit for the like injury and whatever else, but like, it's a bummer, but you have to have your players available and you have to build a roster that can be competitive. And we built a defensive roster that was very competitive and that like kept us in a bunch of games that our offense did not like. Our offense would go out a lot of games, and we talked about it being a team of two halves, but that was usually offensively. When we talked about being a team of two halves, vibes-wise, we'd make an adjustment at halftime and suddenly we'd have the ball some more and we'd make some more plays and we'd go score or whatever else. We have to get a lot better offensively, and we did enough this year. That's why it's not a D or whatever, but like we got to be better offensively. And so we were good enough. We were the baseline good enough, but we need to be better offensively. And our defense, like I hope we continue to improve every year, but you could argue our defense was like, if our offense was as good as our defense, we'd be one of the best teams in the league, one of. And our defense like held us up. And I don't think I want to grade them on as being the same because they weren't. But that being said, the season is still.
I see what you're doing there. Yeah, I see what you're doing there. But
and we weren't like
there's way too much analysis.
There is, but those are those are still emotional analyses a lot of ways.
I mean, it was terrifying during the season. Actually, like living through it for large portions.
We're a couple goals away, a couple big Eldon saves away, and from being like further down the table. And if we don't get a little Tate magic, or whatever magic, but mostly tape magic.
Yeah, let's save the next portion of that I know that you and I both want to talk about.
Yeah.
For another podcast.
So I'm just saying, vibes wise, I will give us an A- on the season overall. That for me is like an excellent grade overall for the next pro season. I will give our defense an A and our offense a C, and you combine those two, like it doesn't equal an A-, but like it equals a B. But I'm going to say A- on the season overall.
Yeah.
And I'm really, 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 really pleased with the season. And yeah, I wouldn't change. I wouldn't change. Be like, man, I expected more in the preseason. This was a good ass season. And we started out really hot, just like the year before. And then we had a giant slump in the middle, but we got a few more points during that slump.
And then we went on a tear. Like we went 8 unbeaten once we broke the duck.
Yeah.
And and that lasted all the way until the playoff game.
And the thing that took us through is vibes and the power of friendship.
That should be the title of this podcast.
Yeah, probably will be. Matthew, what else do you want to touch on this kind of emotional season review, vibes-based season review?
Yeah, I just think how much of a roller coaster this season was.
During that 11-game period, we were pretty darn sure that we were never going to win again, vibes-wise, not facts-wise.
And and it was really weird because I'm trying to pull up the schedule here. It was really weird in part because you and I are pretty relentless when it comes to checking in on the analytics and the expected goals and the public models and stuff like that. And a weird thing happened this year where we know the public models were just panning the shit out of us, even though we were getting results in the first. It was 8 on the back end. It was 10 in the middle. Or was it 11 in the middle?
I think it was 11.
Whatever. And then, be roughly 8 in the front. Is that how math works?
Something like that.
Roughly 10 in the front, something like that. And through those first 10, 11 games where we only had one loss. And, the analytics just did not like us very much. And part of that's because we played Huntsville twice. And won both of those games. And then the analytics in that summer swoon where we went 10 or 11 without winning, the analytics liked us better. Mm-hmm. Especially in that Chicago game where we dropped 1-0 and just beat the pine tar out of them, kind of in terms of chance creation. And then it just we had to go back to getting beat on the spreadsheet, but winning the game in the last 8. And it was one of those weird quirks, by the way, if you follow MLS, and I think we mentioned this maybe on this podcast before, but Charlotte FC did that this year. It's just one of those things. And I don't know how much of that is, I'll be curious about how much of that was game state related, how much of that was our vibes and the power of friendship, play style just plays better being under it a little bit, that togetherness, that cohesion, is just a little bit better. Even though it looks worse on paper, I'm not sure.
Just a little preview for our analytical season review. Yeah.
Yeah. I just, it was a weird season.
It was.
And I think the thing that stands out to me most of anything, I think the leadership group, from the outside in, did an incredible job. Because if you go 10, 11 games without winning, right?
Things can crumble and continue crumbling.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It was 10 games.
We won the 11th.
By the way, 2 of those were against the second worst team in the table in the Eastern Conference. In Miami. We lost a game to a team that didn't make the playoffs. Or we lost 4 games against teams that didn't make the playoffs in that stretch. Yeah, we lost 4. Not ideal.
Yeah, and one of those guys, one of the leadership guys that we haven't even mentioned yet, Alex McGrath, who we lost to a season-ending injury early in the season.
Literally the 3rd game of the season.
it's a wonderful job by the locker room, coaching staff, the players,
Like that
rallying
team could have fully crumbled.
Yeah, during that 10-game stretch in particular.
And how they didn't,
and then came back to win
how
all.
they rallied.
Yeah.
Let's not forget to give a little bit of credit to
Midseason signings
to the technical staff and ownership for bringing in some new blood, bringing in some players. I think, we can talk about the athletic profile of the group got better in the second half of the season. And so once guys like Luke and Anthony and Yuval at the last 5 or 6, 7 games, whatever it was, having some of those guys come in and be able to contribute and start, frankly, a lot of games down the stretch, that Gavin Turner, my God, just a little bit of extra running and athleticism just helped really settle some things down. So yeah, credit to Chris and his staff and to Sebastian and Davis for approving some extra funds to go and try to, inject some new blood and life and stop that slide. And ultimately, it pays off on the back end.
You know what other good vibes there are?
What's that?
Every time I drive by the CFC building,
Yo, that thing is almost done.
it's like a noticeable difference. Just so good.
Yeah.
So
I'm
good.
real excited about that. It's on schedule to have players move in for preseason, which, in case you're curious, preseason, November, December, less than 3 months, just a shade under 3 months.
Wild. Next big thing, I think CFC wise, on my radar is Main Times 24. And if you have not been to the Main Times 24 parade before, you definitely need to come out. It is going to be fun. I think I'll be here this year for the first time in the last 2 years, I believe. So that'll be exciting. And yeah, it's a blast. We parade through the whole South Side with a lot of other people and
Club and supporters
Club and
together.
Supporters.
And academy and whoever just shows up.
It's super, super fun. So it's a wonderful time to come out, meet people, hang out, have a blast. Yeah, if you're a big old podcast nerd, I think it'd be cool to hang out at that or at any of the other things that happen this offseason. I think Chet Hooligan Social Hours will be brought back up and is a really fun time.
Yep, that's the plan.
And then, yeah, hopefully we'll do some interviews and we'll come back with an analytical season review and probably large mailbag episode. I think that'll probably be a doozy, is my guess.
Yeah, I would be. When do you want to do? When do you want to do the end of season mailbag? Do you want to wait? I mean, well, it's not going to be right now because we didn't ask for mailbag questions. So do you want that to be a part of the analytical review?
I think I do. I think I would love it if listeners and viewers were to send us a bunch of questions and we were to fold it all in together, because I suspect that between this episode and that episode, we're going to have a lot of similar thoughts as people. I think there'll be some thought-provoking questions we probably haven't thought about that we should talk about. And I'd also like to know everyone's
world's most agreeable CFC podcast.
Yeah, I think it'd also be really fun to talk through some season grades that we just gave out from some listeners. We just gave some emotional grades. I'm sure we'll give some little more analytical grades and analytical thoughts on the next one. And I would love to have folks, if they're willing, tell us how they felt and how they feel about the season. Do they disagree with our ratings and they have their own? Do they mostly agree?
Yeah.
I'd love to have some of those. And then, of course, again, questions, because every time we open it up to questions and we get outside of yours and my brains, which mostly agree.
It's interesting. Sometimes forces us to think a little bit.
Yeah, which is probably important.
If you listen to this, and hopefully we turn it around really quickly. That's the goal.
Yeah, because I think roster decisions are coming any day, by the way. If you're wondering when we're going to know about next season.
Yeah, soon.
Last season was about 3 days after the season got over. The season ended, rather.
The last couple seasons have been fairly quick.
I would be pretty surprised if we get to Monday. Today's Wednesday. No, today's Thursday.
Thursday.
If we get to Monday without roster, end of day Monday, and we haven't seen roster news, I'd be pretty surprised.
So I guess what I'm going to say is, number one, if you're listening to this after roster decisions,
We will also end up
We
doing
will,
a
we
roster.
will, we will do a roster goodbye and the
Goodbye
whole thing.
season happens, and we also always want your top memories
Yeah.
of any player that is announced to be leaving.
Please comment with memories of players that are departing. If you listen to this before roster decisions and you think of questions that you want to ask for the mailbag episode, and don't want to have the roster decisions kind of hanging over, clouding some of those questions, like, go ahead and submit them in. We'll take notes. If you want to wait for roster decisions, for the end of season analytical podcast and mailbag episode, because one of the things that will happen on the back half of the mailbag episode, or of the analytical
Bingo.
episode review,
You got there.
is that we will start looking at, based on roster decisions, and there's only so much information we get out of that, depending on players that are in negotiations, right? Because they could sign contracts, they could not sign contracts.
Yeah, we won't have all the information.
We won't have all the information, but what we'll start to do is we will have a framework probably for what this season was like, what was good about it, what was bad about it, on spreadsheet wise, and
on the field wise,
and fine on the field too. But this episode will be done on the spreadsheets, and we'll start to kind of take a look at, okay, this has been the response. What do we think that changes, and why do we think that those changes are being made? And those are the episodes where we look real dumb if you listen a year later. So
we often look real dumb if you listen a season later.
Come along for the ride, and it should be a good time.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We will see you soon. Peace.